Hello, episode 2 here, and welcome back to the F1 Lights Out podcast. So we go through team by team from the back to the front.
Yep, sounds good to me.
It's our usual host, myself, Alex, with Robbie and Arshik. Arshik, whatever the player's name is again, I can't remember.
Call me Arctic, everyone does.
Yeah. Max, isn't it?
It is.
Yes! Lots expected to get it right.
Oh great, I'm always qualified, good tyres.
Did you crash yourself out off the grid?
No, I tapped Raikkonen.
Oh. So going to the grid order from like the worst team to the best team. We're going to begin at Williams, I think. This one. Recapping the Monaco Grand Prix, which happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Can we address that?
Surprisingly good one.
Williams is good in comparison to what it used to be for this one race.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, pace doesn't matter as much.
No,
Monaco,
exactly.
obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more track position.
Yeah, they're still like miles off in qualifying, but but in the race they didn't take the last row.
If they did, they would have beaten the record for most consecutive back rows, so...
What did
It's a
actually
shame.
mean?
Yeah, they would have got 6. They're now tied with Marussia with 5.
Ah.
I miss Marussia. What a team.
Yeah. Manor as well, weren't they? Like Manor MRT or some.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And then there was it HRT?
Yes.
Wasn't there a Spanish team? Was that
Yeah,
HRT? No,
it was a Spanish team with 2 Indians.
With Taff Kane and Chandler.
Yeah. Noreen Carter Kane, the cucumber himself.
Hmm.
But kind of a boring race as such.
No, I thought it was a good race in Monaco.
Yeah, I thought it was
from
okay.
for Monaco is fine, but still a boring race in general.
I don't know, there were more incidents than I thought. I thought it was more entertaining than Spain, to be honest.
Oh, definitely.
I thought it was more entertaining than a lot of the races already.
Yeah, exactly, so... yeah.
So, Williams had a decent race than expected.
Yeah.
Going to... Is there anything else we have to say on Williams? Like, Russell finishing 15th, was that a fluke?
Russell performed... Yeah,
It's
I
good
think
for
Russell
him,
performed
and
well.
as our last podcast, it was kind of good, seeing as we were saying it's a struggle for him to show his potential, but he kind of did, so
Yeah.
it helps him a bit, I think.
Definitely. Was it
Yeah,
a
so I think...
Do you think it was a fluke, or do you think it was pure pace?
No, I think he actually did okay. Yeah, I think he... I mean,
Like,
unfortunately,
less
the
about
only issue
pace,
I
more
have
about
with...
driving.
The only issue I have with... It's not actually even driver fault. They didn't really show many other drivers the whole of Monaco. They literally stuck on the front four most of the time. They gave like Sainz, who I thought should have got driver of the day, like 2 seconds of airtime, which I thought was ridiculous.
They also done a bit on Leclerc as well for when he was in the race on B, because he was kind of doing a very hard recovery drive around arguably the hardest track to do it at.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Paris. Anyway, Kubica got up to 15th at one point and then dropped down to 18th.
Yes.
I still don't think he has the same pace or pure talent as Russell, but it's still good for Williams that they haven't got a car in the back row for that race. They're probably,
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably spraying champagne after that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it was okay for them.
Is there anything else we really need to say on Williams?
Not much else really. It was there was the traffic jam when
Oh my God.
Russell got spun by Giovinazzi. And that was quite funny. It was a bit similar to F2 that bit. But yeah, apart from that, not really.
Yeah, it was a very strange instance to say the least.
Yeah.
Oh no. Speaking of spinning,
Someone went for a spin. Yeah.
that was me.
Ah.
I think it just had to line up properly. So somebody had to have a spin.
Yeah. Jamie on a Ferrari.
Yeah, moving on to Sauber then. Oh my god, what a horrible weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty dreadful. They had no pace in quali, really. And, yeah, I mean... Oh.
Whose risky prediction was it for somebody to get pole? Was it a certain... Leclerc to get pole? Whose prediction was that again?
Well, I know it was mine. I know yours was like Ricardo win.
Yeah, which is still a madness, but... Well...
I would never say Ferrari, I don't think so.
I think it was obvious that Merc were going to do well, and I think it was obvious that one of the Red Bulls was going to do well. I think we kind of predicted the top three. I honestly think that Vettel was more of a surprise than anything. And then, Verstappen just got shafted with grid penalty. I think
got lucky with the penalty.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I think he got lucky.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Considering Gio got a 10-second penalty for a collision when an unsafe release is actually a bigger deal is the sign.
Yeah, especially at this track when track position is everything. It should have been a harsher penalty.
Yeah, definitely.
We nearly got a McLaren on the podium if that penalty would have been harsher. Or at least 4.
Yeah, it would have.
Which would have been saying something, to say the least. Surprising to me, it wasn't, it wouldn't have been, Lando, but it would have been Sainz, which I don't think...
it would have been Sainz.
It would have been strange out of both of the McLarens. I honestly think...
I did say in my prediction, my out there prediction was that Sainz would get a podium. And I know he did get a podium, but I did think he'd be the best one out of the McLarens. And obviously he did get 6th. I just had a feeling that he was due one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he's matched Norris's best result.
I think Monaco's about experience as well, so I think it was always going to be a bit of a struggle for Lando.
Naughty, sorry.
I think you can practice it on a simulator as much as you want, but Monaco is just...
yeah, 100%. Okay, I'm now watching Arctic.
Yeah, so...
it was definitely...
I was too busy concentrating.
It was definitely very interesting on it, but it's more of the issue of, is it talking? Sorry, we're actually off track a bit with but we're talking about the McLarens when we're meant to be talking about Sauber.
Well, yeah, true. I don't know.
So Sauber finished 19th and 15th.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 19th and 19th and 17th. Giovinazzi was 2 laps down at one point.
Yeah, he did get obviously damage and the penalty though from when he spun.
Definitely true. Definitely.
Russell. So that's the only reason Kubica was the last, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, for Raikkonen, he had a bit of a frustrating race because not only did he not have the pace, he had 2 near incidents with Stroll.
Definitely.
And they were both at the same hairpin.
Always Stroll.
The really slow one. And one of them, especially Stroll, was terrible for, is Raikkonen had the inside, and Stroll just came across so aggressively and sort of tapped him, and it was really, really stupid driving. And Raikkonen told the world that on the radio. But we weren't surprised because it was Stroll, but...
Stroll,
yeah.
Now, people would argue who'd go to next, like, what team would you go to next? Some people would actually say Renault at this point, some people would say Haas, some people would say Racing Point. I think it's very obviously Racing Point. And talking about Stroll again, how the bloody hell is he in a car? He's strolling around the track like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, no way he's in the car.
He's
Daddy's boy.
Yeah, Daddy's boy on a bloody Sunday drive.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic because the races are on a Sunday. But I do believe that I don't think he has the quality to be in the car, and I'm going to keep on saying this on every single episode of this podcast. He does not have the pace to be in that car to begin with. I don't think anybody can argue that he does.
Well, Lance Stroll's dad might argue it, but that's about it.
I might start to doubt it soon.
Yeah.
I don't. I'd say it's more of Lance wanting a drive and his dad wanting to keep him happy than his dad wanting to be an F1.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm willing to argue that. But talking on Racing Point again, their livery is horrible. I just want to point that out again. Ugh.
Yeah.
But Racing Point, once again, a very boring race for one of the drivers, Stroll. And then Perez, who came just out of the points, he was the last car to be lapped.
Yeah.
And considering the Racing Point was slow, that's not a bad result.
No, it definitely isn't. Which proves what you're able to do in that Racing Point car. I just don't think Stroll is proving it. Which is why people are doubting it. Lance Stroll, on the other hand, is also had the irony of finishing behind the Williams.
Yeah.
Which is never a good thing.
The only he's in a Racing Point which should be faster than the Williams and the Alpha at this point.
Miles, yeah.
And still finished behind one. He's the only person outside of Leclerc who retired to actually finish behind a Williams in a car outside of Sauber and Williams.
Yeah.
But I think that Perez is worth a hell of a lot more than people think. He's actually a very good driver.
Yeah, he's underrated. Underrated, and he did when he raced at McLaren with Button. Actually, he was. I think Button got a bit frustrated because there were points where Perez, finished above Button and proved himself to be quite a decent driver.
Yes, definitely.
And he's definitely. I think he probably deserves a better car considering he's.
I agree.
That ability of driver, but he's doing well with what he did. With what he's got. And
of course.
Got a solid P6 in Baku, and he's carrying the team. No surprise because his teammate's Stroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I now want to go and talk about Toro Rosso. Did anybody see them both getting into Q3?
I had a feeling that at least one of them would. I had a feeling that Kvyat would do well this weekend because watching the practice sessions, he was pumping in some really, really quick lap times. Yeah,
definitely.
And he was going quicker than Gasly in most of them, actually.
Yes.
And he does seem to like this track, and Johnny Herbert was talking about, because he knows Fiat well, he doesn't enjoy this track. And but yeah, I mean, Albon did it absolutely brilliantly as well as a rookie to get a Q3 in Monaco. It's always impressive.
Definitely.
And solid P7. Was it a P7 a P8 finish? Fiat got P7.
Yeah, it was a 2.
And Albon got P8.
And Sainz was 9.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Sainz was.
No, the finish is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, so very good weekend for them. Good pacing quality, good race pace, and another good result for Kvyat after Spain. So that'll be a good confidence boost for him. 2 consecutively good races.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm willing to argue that Toro Rosso are looking like a better team than a lot of the other midfield teams at this point. All of the midfield teams are on a struggle bus at the moment. Oh, I definitely agree. And coming into the season, I wouldn't have said that at all.
No.
I just can't wait to see bloody Toro Rosso get guinea pig again. Being bloody Red Bull's a crash test dummy, as if you wish.
Yeah.
Just paying them to test new components, really. It's practically a B-spec driver, like a test driver for Red Bull. Moving on then to McLaren.
Max, if you want to go on this.
Yeah, Max, you can begin.
Great on one half for the whole weekend in Sainz. He qualified really well, and obviously we know, in my opinion, the true driver of the day, to be honest.
I agree.
And then on the other half, not as good, but as I said,
Very average.
Norris. I know Monaco's hard, but it was P12, wasn't it? You got in quali, which I expect him to get a bit better, to be honest, especially being the one that everyone thinks is at this point the more superior in the team, because he had until this weekend the best finish for McLaren.
Yeah, definitely.
Now it's tied. So, and Norris always seems to struggle recently on starts. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
He always seems to really struggle on the start, which is a
And
shame
Sainz the opposite.
Yeah, and Sainz is the opposite, which is a shame because being midfield, it's like ideal for us to gain those places at the start, and even more importantly, Monaco, where after the first corner, that's basically the finish.
Yeah, definitely.
So one side really good, the other side kind of meh for me.
I definitely agree with that. And speaking on Norris, on the other hand, it's just upsetting to see him having such issues at the start. Because if he was able to get them better, it'd probably be an entirely different kettle of fish.
Yeah. I think maybe his confidence as well was damaged from the crash in Spain.
Yeah.
So it might take a little while to recover. And obviously Monaco wasn't the best bounce back track, but
yeah, it's not an easy one to do with a rookie year.
Yeah, and especially if you're maybe a bit low on confidence, but you know, in the end, P11 just outside the points. He was never realistically going to get ahead of Ricciardo.
That was hard.
So yeah, but yeah, Sainz stole the day from McLaren, and putting in some good form after obviously a really good finish in Spain as well. And McLaren remain best of the rest in terms of the midfield teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt, I don't think there's any other argument right now.
Yeah, and that's how it stands in the constructors as well. As well as just
I'm saying that there's a top 4 teams right now, and then there's the rest. Like, it used to be a top 3, now it's a top 4. I'd love to see them be an actual fight for podiums for next season or the season after, which I definitely think is realistic now. After seeing their pace this season, it just comes down to how fast.
Progress.
Yeah, how fast can they make their car compared to everybody else? Bring upgrades and bring everything like that.
I'd also argue the two of them have the best chemistry in the whole league out of everyone. I think they get on the best. Having watched them in interviews, Sainz and Norris, they have great chemistry.
Yes, but I think Sainz and Norris are two very likable people.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you don't meet many people that say, "Oh, my least favorite driver is Sainz or Norris."
Yeah, there's not many people who say that.
They're a likable team out of the two of them.
And they're in a very likable team as well, like
history
an actual historic team that a lot of older fans of the sport can actually get behind.
Yeah, exactly.
And even from those Hamilton years and Button and everything, they still have a large amount of support from them.
Oh, massive!
Those years, and rookie British driver, a slightly more experienced Spanish driver. It's a bit like the Alonso Hamilton first season, slightly different, but there's some similarities there in terms of the
and how they're going about it.
Yeah.
Next one's a very interesting one for me. It's Haas.
I can't remember really what happened with Haas.
Just me, or they have a bit. Grosjean got a point.
Yeah, he did well in the end, considering his qualifying was ruined by Gasly.
Yeah, he got a point.
Yeah.
And Magnussen came P14, so it was a very, very bland weekend for Haas. It wasn't anything exceptional, but it wasn't anything great. Like, not much really to talk about, other than Grosjean actually being able to get a point.
He did, yeah.
And
Magnussen
had an amazing qualifying. He started P5 because of Gasly's penalty. He qualified P6 but started P5 because of that penalty. So for him to finish 14th, it must be gutting for him. And they were lucky that Grosjean did well. I mean, he did so many laps on the soft tyres. That was just the only reason he was able to get that high up on the grid, to be honest, was how well he managed his tyres on the softs.
Okay, I don't think there's much really to say about Haas. Actually, going back to now to Renault, I predicted Ricciardo to win the entire thing. That was a very risky. That was a very risky prediction, and I'm willing to say that was very biased because I love Ricciardo.
I did think that was a bit. That was never going to happen.
I love Ricciardo more than most Australians do, and that's really saying something.
Yeah.
But having a look at Ricciardo's finishing position, Hulkenberg's finishing position, it's also a very met weekend, very similar to Haas, a 13th to the 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Leclerc also damaged Hulkenberg's race when he hit him and he had to pit because of that, which sort of put him on the back foot quite early on.
Yeah, definitely.
Which didn't help. And then, Ricciardo did what he could really, did what he could really from a car that was, it was just meh, as you say. I think that's the best description.
It was very bland. It wasn't very exciting to watch. It's just watching a banana go around the track for a bit. That's about it. Nor did we see much of them all weekend because, well, the commentators didn't really show any other driver but the top four.
Yeah,
that's been a lot of the complaints this season, actually, is that the coverage, because people do want to see, the midfield battle, because that's also exciting.
Very
and
interesting, yeah.
I wasn't really looking, because obviously we didn't see it.
Well.
But then you're suddenly like, oh shit, Sainz is 6th. When did that happen?
Yeah, it was sometimes they were just surprise swaps in positions.
Yeah, like
they never showed it.
Yeah, you really have to keep an eye on the actual drivers, like lineup, like the actual order of the grid. If you want to be up to date on everything, because you're not really going to get an update on it unless you're able to find some highlights online of overtakes.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a YouTube channel at the moment that's showing all of the overtakes from every single F1 Grand Prix. I think. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on it. But, like... but once again, also talking on Renault, I'd be interested to see what they're able to pull out in Canada, actually, because of... According to... their team principal, I can't remember his bloody name now. No, that was the ex-McLaren guy.
What was it? I thought it was Renault.
No, the bald Renault guy.
Oh yeah, I should know Renault. Yeah. Oh my god, that annoys me as well.
Really hairy arms guy. You know the guy I'm on about.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, he looks like a gorilla. No offense, but but according to him anyway, Renault did bring engine upgrades to this Grand Prix.
Oh, so, you couldn't really notice, could you?
Well, no, because it isn't very much of a straight line speed circuit, but it'd be kind of interesting to see where on the pace the Honda engines are compared to the Renault engines next weekend.
Yeah.
Could that pull McLaren even closer to the Red Bulls?
Yes, please.
Team principal of Renault is Thierry Bollot and Jerome Stroll, who's the president.
That isn't him.
It's not who I'm thinking of either.
No,
he might not be the team principal. He might be like just.
He is the team principal. I know he is.
Well, let me click on a picture of them, and I'm going to see.
No,
that's definitely not him.
That bald guy. I think you're looking at the Formula E team. I think they have a Formula E team as well, or something like that.
No, Renault Formula 1, and it's 2019.
I don't know. We'll just ignore that. We'll come back to it. I'll Google it later. It's like Cecil something.
Yeah, that's the one the one I just said. Cecil Thoreau, whatever his name is.
I think you're pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah,
oh, probably. I'm not very good in French. Yeah. It is.
What does he look like?
Cyril.
Cyril.
Oh, Cyril Abattoir, isn't it? It's Abattoir.
Yeah, that's him. But
he doesn't have a picture on his Wikipedia.
Yeah, but
that's him. Yeah.
It'd be but anyway, it'd be interesting to see how Renault perform at Canada next, which I want to talk about later on in the podcast, about the Canada preview.
Yeah.
On like what to expect. Going forward from Renault to Red Bull. Oh my God, Pierre Gasly, you are making me frustrated. Sack him now. Sack him now. Drop him to the guinea pig car. Put bloody Kvyat or put Albon in that car. I don't care. They'll be quicker than Gasly.
I mean,
I saw that straight away in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, when the fact he finished behind the...
Yeah.
And then Bahrain as well, when he finished below Sainz and... behind Sainz and he only just finished ahead of the Red Bulls and in the points. Yeah, it's just dreadful, really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, on the other hand, it's Max Verstappen. Once again, he can't keep his nerves under control because he keeps on getting grid penalties. No, not grid penalties.
Yeah.
He keeps on getting time penalties.
Time penalties.
This one wasn't his fault, though. It was the teams for releasing early.
Well, yes, but still. Is it one or two? Did he get one or two penalties? Because I know he also collided with Hamilton when Hamilton was forced to go straight on.
He just got the one.
No, he just got one.
Okay. Was that a 5-second time penalty that took him off the podium?
Yeah.
It was 5,
place for Bottas?
It was only 5 seconds, which is...
ridiculous, considering the track it's at.
Most said, and even the commentators said that he'd probably get a drive-through.
They were saying drive-through, which would be literally, would be so damaging. You'd finish so far down with that.
I would have said 10 seconds, honestly. I think a 10 seconds minimum.
10, I don't know
a 10-second minimum.
Give him 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and I still think it's harsh that they give Gio 10.
Yeah.
But it seems to be the bigger drivers seem to get away with lighter punishments than the smaller ones.
The reason I see that a drive-through is justifiable is because Verstappen got out of the pits in front of Bottas. He overtook him in the pit lane as well, and then also overtook him and kept on going. He didn't even try and actually didn't try to hand the position back. Also because Bottas got damage, and also had to pit again the following lap.
Yeah, he did.
That should have been a drive-through because that's two pit stops.
Just for that. Yeah.
It's 2 pit stops that Valtteri had to serve with a wing change.
Yeah.
And he gets a 5-second penalty.
Bottas' time so much makes it even more obvious that it should have been way harsher.
Yeah, like I get that Gio got a penalty, but he didn't cause anybody damage as far as I'm aware, did he?
No, he just spun Russell.
No, he just spun.
Russell had no damage.
Oh, was it Russell?
No, it was Russell, and Russell had no damage, so he didn't have to pit anything the next lap.
So
in fact, Gio damaged himself. He damaged a bit with his front wing, so he had to pit. But
yeah, exactly. So I'd say a 5-second penalty for that then, and maybe a drive-through for Verstappen because he also had a wing damage. So maybe a 5-second stop-go, is it?
Yeah.
I think that would have been fair for him because it's 5 seconds on top of a wing change, and then for Verstappen it should have been an easy drive-through. Easy drive-through. I don't care what anybody says.
I think you should have.
We're not even going to talk about Gasly because he's shit. I think
it's so irrelevant compared to Verstappen. His pace is just another level.
Such a big team.
I'll put it this way: Verstappen, Gasly was 4 seconds behind Verstappen.
Yeah.
Or is that 4 seconds behind Verstappen, and then there was another 45-second gap to Carlos Sainz. Okay, I think that says enough of how boring of a race he's getting. The only thing that's good for Pierre Gasly and Red Bull right now is that they're getting another point in the constructors more or less every race because he's going to be at the back and he's just going to do an extra pit stop for the extra point. That's all that's going to happen. It's just Gasly fastest lap for the extra point. That's the only thing that's going to happen.
He got fastest lap, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Ferrari.
Oh, this is interesting.
Tale of two drivers.
Talk about qualifying as well, I guess.
Oh my.
Tale of two drivers.
I don't blame Leclerc for what happened because he wanted to go out again. The team didn't send him out.
Yeah.
That was the team's
He did
fault.
miss the weighbridge. He did miss the weighbridge though, so he did.
They had time after it, but that was
They
a rookie
still had
mistake
time,
to
but
miss-
he
to
also-
miss the weighbridge.
Yeah,
They would
but-
have had so much more if they didn't have to roll him back.
But they did push him back to the weighbridge, though. That's my point.
No, they did, but they would have had so much more time if they didn't have to get all their engineers to roll a car back to the weighbridge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
definitely.
it was. I mean, it's Ferrari's fault because they had time, but it's his fault because they would have had even more if he didn't miss it.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the race for Leclerc was
Oh, that-
abysmal.
Just-
But he came third in drive of the day, so he obviously was
yeah,
incredible.
obviously
Oh,
deserved-
no.
He was apparently amazing.
Yeah,
Despite
because
the
fans
fact
love
that-
him. Because Ferrari fans love him. That's it.
Yeah, love him.
I know.
That's
He
it.
could literally qualify 20th and crash in the first corner and still get like third in drive of the day,
Yeah,
like he
isn't-
did for this race, which is
Pretty
just
much.
a joke. I mean, I think
mean,
even
it was such an amateur race. It was just the rookiest race I've seen him do. The overtakes, the fact he drove at the speed he did with that much damage to his wheel was also so stupid.
yeah.
Think how much damage he had, and he was still driving pretty quick, just ruining his car.
Did you also see the amount of damage that the wheel actually caused to the floor?
Yeah, the floor when it was hitting
Yeah.
it, it was
Yeah.
unreal. Yeah.
Like, also, I want to address something. That should have been a safety car earlier. That safety car should have been deployed earlier,
Yeah.
as soon as that happened. They deployed that
Yeah,
safety
I
car
was
way too
surprised
late.
It wasn't earlier. Yeah.
They deployed that way too late. And honestly, if it was Charlie Whiting, God bless his soul, that would not have happened. That would have been immediate.
Yeah.
I was very surprised as well.
Like, people give Charlie's team a lot of slack for calling too many safety cars or something bogus like that. This group are just are calling too little. Like, honestly, they're trying to get debris on track cleared up by yellow flags.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
That's
very
ridiculous.
dangerous.
That's
Especially on Monaco as well.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, also we can talk about Leclerc's move on Hulkenberg. I mean, just before that,
just
there was the
dreadful.
Grosjean move, which the commentators were
Which
praising.
worked, but it was dreadful.
Like Grosjean literally had to turn out of the
Grosjean
way
had
to
to
avoid
turn.
hitting him. And I
Yeah.
agree with Grosjean when he said he just kamikazed me, because if Grosjean would have done what Grosjean usually does, he wouldn't have let that happen, but it wouldn't have been his fault, because it was just a complete dive bomb from way too far back. And I'd say the only reason it worked was because of Grosjean. And then he tried to do it with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg didn't see it coming, just turned in normally, and he fucked Hulkenberg up and his own race up as well. And it was really impatient.
Definitely.
And I literally said seconds before, Max can testify this, I was like, he's going to crash in a minute. And then literally
Yeah.
about 2 seconds later came to that corner, because he was just being so impatient and he was going for these stupid moves, trying to do it way too quickly, and it was just inevitable, really. And yeah, cost him.
Oh.
But Vettel had a pretty solid race.
Yeah, definitely.
Must be said. And he's got 2 podiums in a row now, third and a second. But I think this one was his most impressive. It was quite a
He played
mature
it well.
drive.
Yeah,
mature
by
driving.
staying back.
I still believe you still should have been third. Because I think Bottas would have been ahead of him if he didn't
Well, yeah.
if he didn't have that wing damage, which is also
Yeah,
what.
of course.
Yeah,
That's
But
obviously
again,
yeah.
it makes the drivers more interesting again, at least, the fact that it wasn't.
Yeah.
but Lewis Hamilton wins again, and then Bottas also gets less points, which technically increases Lewis Hamilton's lead. So does
Yeah,
it make it
it's-
more interesting?
It's a 17-point gap now.
Yeah.
But it means at least that Vettel's closed in.
Yeah, that's the
on,
thing. At least it's not just a
Ocon.
Mercedes rivalry at the top.
Hopefully that can continue. I hopefully Ferrari, for the championship's sake, even though as a Hamilton fan I wouldn't particularly like it, but as a as just an F1 viewer, it'd be quite nice for Ferrari to have a strong race in Canada.
I'm the exact same way.
A good race and to close, and so that because I think Ferrari have got a lot. It's better when it's inter-team. I mean, the past 2 seasons have been brilliant when it's been Hamilton v Vettel.
Yeah.
It's been really entertaining for that. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I also want to pay a lot of credit to Sebastian Vettel's crash helmet for this race.
Oh yeah.
The Lauda one.
Oh yeah.
Hats off to that. That was incredible. I really liked that helmet that he brought out for that. And I want to. We'll talk more about Lauda at the end of the podcast. But moving on to Mercedes, once again a tale of 2 drivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost a McLaren
But
situation.
not to the extent that we're thinking of. I still think Valtteri Bottas had a lot of pace.
Yeah.
He definitely did, but I think the second pit stops honestly screwed him over because he was only a second behind Vettel at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in quali as well, he was unlucky not to get pole. Hamilton just pulled out the most incredible lap at the end.
Yeah.
Because Bottas had put in another amazing lap. It was Bottas put in a 110.4, I think it was, or 110.6, I can't remember which one it was. And then Hamilton did a 110.2 to get pole, which was, but consistently Bottas was quicker than Hamilton in Q1 and Q2.
But I think
ultimately, when it mattered, Hamilton was quicker.
Yeah, Hamilton just gains lightning pace when it's on time for everything. Going to Hamilton, what a race. Honestly, what a race. Fantastic race by Hamilton all around. It was, I wouldn't say it was a dominant race, but he done what needed to be done.
Yeah, especially considering it was really odd for them to put him on medium tyres.
Yeah, it was not choice.
It didn't give him any real extra pace, and the tyres wore way quicker, and no one else was on mediums. And everyone's tyres were struggling at the end, but Hamilton's was struggling so much worse because...
You mean on the hards?
On the mediums.
No, the mediums or the hards?
He was on mediums.
No, he was on the
mediums.
mediums. Everyone else was on the hards, yeah. It was...
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
And that's
but he did well.
And that's arguably the only reason that Hamilton caught up. No, that Verstappen caught up because of the tyre choice.
Yeah, and kept with him for so long.
Yeah, definitely. Moving to driver of the day, I think we can all agree was actually Sainz. It should have been.
Sainz, yeah, it should have been.
We all agree
I
on
mean,
that.
it's even worse. He wasn't top 3. It's just ridiculous.
And Leclerc was.
Yeah, Leclerc.
Oh, the F1 community. You make me laugh.
I'm sorry, I don't even pay attention to driver of the day anymore. I used to vote on it, now I don't.
Yeah, it's the most pointless
I mean,
thing.
China, I think, was very deserved for Albon.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's the most deserved this season, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, like
Leclerc got it in Baku.
Maybe
finishing 5th.
Maybe Bottas
bizarre,
in Australia. Maybe Bottas in Australia. I'm willing to argue it, just because of the season he came back from.
Yeah, I guess it was a nice coming back sort of
gift. That means absolutely feck all. Oh.
And all that.
Disqualified. You've done a Senna. I'm going to take this World Championship away from you now.
Do you know I didn't get a penalty for that?
No, to be fair, it shouldn't be a penalty because you slow down and you go through the thing. But obviously, when Senna did that against Prost, Senna for some reason was disqualified and he lost the World Championship because of it. But that was when the FIA were quite corrupt.
That's right. The FIA was French as well, so that's
and Prost was just given any opportunity. Really,
yeah.
Okay, let's just.
Anywho,
let's not talk.
Back onto topic.
Let's not get sidetracked by Senna again.
He does. He has that effect on every F1 fan.
He does definitely. But before I want to talk about Canada in a bit, the Canadian Grand Prix as like a preview.
Yeah, let's preview that now.
To next Monday's podcast. But first, I want to talk about Niki Lauda. Before we talk on that, I want to say props to Haas, Vettel, and Mercedes.
Yeah,
for all dedicating something.
The only 3 teams who dedicated anything this weekend.
McLaren had writing on the side that said Niki Lauda and his birth and death here.
Oh, did they? I apologize then.
It was very subtle, but it was black on the right.
Oh my god, it was black, really? Yeah, that's probably why I didn't see it then.
Yeah, that wasn't a very wise choice of colour, I think.
Vettel props for the crash helmet.
Yeah.
Definitely. Considering you're the only person in Ferrari who even gave a toss, really, in my opinion. I think that's.
Yeah,
I think
he won world championships for Ferrari, and they didn't even care.
Yeah. Mercedes paid the most tribute by a mile.
Oh,
That's understandable though, because obviously he was such a big influence in the.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally was the reason that Hamilton signed.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I was expecting a bit more from McLaren and Ferrari. Even though McLaren did do a bit, I was expecting a bit more from him still because he did win them a world champion.
World championships
with both of those teams.
More the fact that you didn't even notice they had something. So
yeah.
Therefore,
like half of all teams even done something. They put the sign on the car. There's now. Yeah. Now let's talk about all the stuff that Mercedes done. Hamilton brought a Niki Lauda crash helmet for the race.
Yeah.
They changed the front wing to red. No, the halo to red, and it said, "Niki, we miss you," which is which is an incredible touch in my opinion.
It was very cool.
Hats off to that. I have to admit, the red front wing did look a bit off at times, but I understand why they done it.
Obviously the red caps. Everyone had the red caps. For Lauda.
That was incredible.
Hamilton obviously dedicated his win for Lauda.
Yeah.
He did.
There was also the thing that all of the Mercedes people, well, most of them anyway, wore the black armband.
Yeah.
For the race weekend. Toto Wolff was also wearing a red cap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
He was, yeah.
Then also Niki Lauda's name is on the front of the car. It was on the front wing. I think that's there for the rest of the season, isn't it?
I don't know, actually.
I'm not sure.
I believe it is. I saw it on their Instagram. Oh, and they also have the tiny red arrow, like the Merc logo thing on the on the engine cover. It's very, very subtle, I'll admit that, but out of all of the other ones that are all silver and black, there's only one red one, which I think is a very nice touch.
That's very cool. Yeah,
that's very cool. And how that's also being on the car for the rest of the season, which was confirmed by Mercedes on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Nice touch.
I kind of hope when the new F1 game comes out, this is then being added to my wish list, that we actually see that red star on the side of the Mercedes car.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
I'd like to be able to at least see it, and I'd also like the option to have if the Niki Lauda name is also on the front of on the front wing, because I think that's there for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah.
Which I have to admit, Niki was a huge inspiration for me because I watched a lot of the old F1 races. One of my favourite films of all time is Rush, which is the film about Niki Lauda and James Hunt.
Yeah.
That was one of the main things that got me into F1. I was a big fan of Niki Lauda. He's one of my favourite drivers of all time. I'm willing to argue he is one of the greatest of all time, and I will argue that to my death.
Yeah.
He also.
I don't think there's much argument. I think he's a contender you can argue for it.
Definitely. 3 championships,
especially his comeback.
Even after retiring, and that comeback the year he got injured, he came back. Was it 10 weeks after his injury he was back on track for Italy?
I think it was less than that, actually. I think it was 8 weeks.
Or 8 weeks or 7 weeks or something stupid like that after such a serious injury. And then he was in poor health, and I was actually nervous for a very long time because I've always liked Niki Lauda. Out of all of the F1 famous F1 people would mostly say Ayrton Senna to meet.
Yeah.
Like everybody would say Ayrton Senna. Mine wasn't never Ayrton Senna. Mine was always Niki Lauda. I've always wanted to meet him. He would have been an incredible person to just sit down and have a conversation with about his career.
And he did that many times with. I remember F1 after his death. I watched. It was only a half an hour program, but it was like. It was when they talked to Niki Lauda about his life, and they sort of replayed the highlights, his career and stuff, and he was talking about it, and it was from his perspective and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. one of the...
an incredible person and an incredible driver.
Yeah.
And to this day, I will argue he will go down as one of the greatest of all time. I'm willing to argue that I can make a very fair argument for him to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I can argue right now that he should have 4 championships, not 3, if he wouldn't have got injured.
Yeah, he would have. He would have had 4.
He would have had 4.
It's a bit like Senna would have had it more than 3.
Yeah, exactly. He
died, and he should have had at least 4 because one of them was stripped unfairly at Monza.
Yeah, and then there was also the one. What was the other one? Or then Lauda retired, began his airline and converted it to begin his airline. What if he never? What if he had never done that? What if he would have been said, "Yeah, I'm not retiring," and he would have been there. He would have had a hell of a lot more to do.
Yeah, what if? It's always a question.
Yeah, I think it's now. I think Mercedes also equaled a record to Ferrari or McLaren and all them at some point this weekend as well. I think they equaled some form of record. Not entirely sure what it was, but it was some form of record that's equal to McLaren and all them now. Now we can talk about Canada, because I was going to leave. I was going to leave the Lauda segment to the end of the very end of the podcast, but then I thought it'd be nice at the end of Monaco itself.
No, it does. Yeah, you're right.
With most of Monaco just being a dedication to him anyway, so fit in well.
Yeah. F1 game, please have the Nicky hats for the actual in-game Monaco. I will love you.
Would be very cool.
I will love you dearly. I will race that track the whole time, even though I've only raced like twice this year.
Yeah.
Going into Canada.
Yeah.
What to say about Canada?
It's a really good circuit. I really like it.
I love Canada, so in fact I love
Hamilton's
the next
first ever win was
couple races coming up. I love Canada and I love France.
Canada and France are 2 incredible tracks, even though France can be a bit of an eyesore at times.
Yes, it can hurt.
I think Williams will be at the back.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Yep.
Back to normal.
Back to normal, really. Now, the rest. We can talk about, if you want, about what everybody thinks is going to be the big surprise shock.
I think I'm going to predict Vettel to get pole.
That's a risky prediction.
Yeah, it's a risky prediction, but I mean, nothing is as risky as you predicting Ricciardo to win the race in Monaco. So, yeah, I'm gonna say Vettel to get pole. I'm not sure if they'll win the race, but
safe to assume I got riskiest prediction of the year.
Yeah. I could potentially see Ferrari doing very well, as I said. Vettel maybe pole, maybe a Ferrari winner. I'm not sure. And then. I mean, I'm not sure about any other predictions really. Maybe another strong weekend from Toro Rosso.
It depends on how the Honda engine holds up on the long straights. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, that's the thing. And obviously, as you say, the Renault thing will be quite interesting to see if the engine upgrade generally has made a difference.
Done anything, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say at the moment, if we all believe that Williams are last, which I think is a very, very safe prediction.
Safe bet, yeah.
I'm willing to say Toro Rosso will be second last.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm going to then say Alfa Romeo. Then Renault. Then Racing Point, minus Stroll.
Yeah. Stroll will always be down at the bottom no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. You could throw him in Lewis Hamilton's car and he'll still be down at the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm then going to say something very, very risky that I might get in a lot of trouble for after this race. Red Bull 4.
Really?
McLaren are going to take the third row.
Ooh.
And then And then it's going to be a splitsy-poos between the Merc and Ferraris.
Yeah, I think it's going to be split as well.
I think Hamilton is going to take pole because he's #blessed. I think Vettel will start P2, Bottas P3, Leclerc P4. I think Leclerc needs to bounce back for that last weekend, and I don't think it's going to happen immediately.
Yeah, maybe. I think also Haas will do quite well because they've got a similar engine to Ferrari in terms of their straight line speed.
Yeah, I think Haas and Perez. I'm not even going to say Stroll. Haas and Perez are going to be the people scrapping for the final points positions. I think it's very, very, very safe. I just hope that the Renault engine upgrades are also coming to the suppliers, like to the customer teams, to the McLarens.
Well, like McLaren, yeah.
Yeah, McLaren.
Because that could help them a lot if they get it.
Although Renault wouldn't really want to give it to McLaren, considering
Things are doing better.
their competitors for best of the rest, and McLaren are
But
quite a bit clear at the moment.
they are a customer team and they have the right to get those upgrades. So it's probably in the contract somewhere that they have to get them as well.
They're just probably regretting it.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd love to see Mercedes drop Williams sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And I want to see Mercedes pick back up McLaren. No joke. I want a
McLaren Mercedes. Yeah.
I want a McLaren Mercedes again, and I want McLaren v Mercedes for 2021.
Yeah.
McLaren versus Mercedes versus Ferrari versus Red Bull, top 4 teams. Please make it happen. I want like a 6 or 7 way scrap for the title.
God, we haven't had that for a long time. Not since, well, I mean, even then it was only, it was a 4 or 5 way scrap for the title at Abu Dhabi in 2010 when Vettel won his first championship.
Also, the race weekend is the 9th of June, so it isn't this. It's this week. No, it's the week after next.
Yes.
And then it's which is something interesting I want to point out. There's only 2 more races in real life before the new F1 game.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one in France.
Yep. Then the Austrian Grand Prix is the weekend of the F1 game's release.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hype.
Yeah.
There'll be a
nice
lot of
weekend,
stuff for Lauda there as well because obviously it was Austrian.
Yeah.
Oh, for definite.
Actually, I do have a question for you. What do you think about the United States Grand Prix now being the 19th track on the calendar, not the 18th?
Wait, is that for next season or this season?
This season. The US is the 3rd last Grand Prix.
Didn't know that
It's
anyway.
usually the 4th last, isn't it?
Yes, normally 4th last.
I quite like the US as a title decider.
Yeah, it looks like the title won't go down to Mexico anymore, which I'm very happy for.
No, yeah, Mexico's always like weird because a lot of the Red Bull do dominate, and Mercedes and Ferrari both suck at it, and usually it's a battle between Mercedes and Ferrari for the championship. So the title decider is literally decided by Hamilton coming 5th and Vettel coming like 4th or whatever. So it's
Am I the only person who wants? Am I the only person who wants the last 3 races in order to be USA, Japan, Brazil?
I'd agree with USA and Brazil,
so I'm happy with that.
Brazil should always be last race because it always provides some of the best drama and the best atmosphere. And USA, should, but I wouldn't say Japan. I'm not that much of a fan of Suzuka. Plus, it gives me bad memories. I'm not sure what I think. I'd have USA, then Brazil as the final 2. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What else I'd have, but yeah, I wouldn't have Suzuka that far because.
According to rumors I've heard, I'm just going to call them rumors. According to 2021-2022, we're meant to have 24 races on the calendar.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Next year we're going to have potentially 22 or 23. It depends if they officially get rid of Spain or not.
I think
if they do get rid of Spain, it will still be 22, but it will still get increased by 1.
I think Spain's gone. I don't care. I honestly want that track gone. I hate it.
I don't hate driving on the game.
I thought it was boring this season, but
yeah. But talking about that, we already know that the Holland Grand Prix is coming, and we know that the Vietnam Grand Prix is coming.
Yeah.
And assuming that Spain gets dropped, that means we'll only have 22 races. What do you want to see for the other two?
Ooh, I think. I'm going to go with.
If there is going to be another two.
I think if there's going to be another two, I'm going to go for the two that I think will happen, and then the two that I'd like to see happen.
Okay.
So I think there'd be a Florida Grand Prix because Hamilton and a lot of people in the F1
have always wanted it,
in Florida.
Florida street circuit.
I think there'll be a Florida Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And the other one I can see happening.
Malaysia coming back, maybe.
Maybe, but they always had. There's not really the. They always struggle with crowds there.
Yeah. Okay.
They always struggle with crowds. I tell you what, I'd love to see come back though. The Nürburgring. I always love that track.
Yeah, it's the German track I want instead.
And
I hate Hockenheim.
I always love that track as well. Yeah, I hate Hockenheim. What I do is I get rid of Hockenheim, bring in the Nürburgring, and then for the other one to add on as well as the Florida one is Istanbul because I love that track.
There's also talks of the British Grand Prix getting dropped because of Brexit, so we'll keep that in mind for that.
Yes.
Here are the 3 tracks I want added. I'm going to mention 3 just because in case Britain goes. I want Istanbul.
To be fair, I mentioned 3.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I want Istanbul. I want Nuremberg.
Yeah.
Over Hockenheim because Hockenheim is shite. I don't particularly want Malaysia back. I just thought it was a bit realistic, maybe. But
yeah.
The 2 I'd like to see back to replace Spain, I'd like to see Valencia back. Valencia Street Circuit.
Yeah, Valencia was always chaos.
And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I want Korea back.
Korea, I remember that.
But
oh god. Yeah.
Korea's a bit of a madness, but I think it will end up being say for me, little track for me.
It wasn't around for that long.
It will be Florida though. It will be Florida though, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I remember when Korea was around, it was only around for about 2 seasons.
And
then they dropped it, which usually a track has longer. Like even India had 3 seasons. But yeah.
I'm just very concerned about the Dutch Grand Prix, honestly, because I don't think they chose the correct Dutch circuit.
Yeah, I think the circuit's a bit worrying. The location's amazing, don't get me wrong, because it's like right by the beaches and stuff. And it is a really classic circuit. And
I think it's only like an hour or half an hour on train from Amsterdam as well.
Yeah, it's easy to reach, and it'll be like an amazing one to go to. Because of the atmosphere and because of you're right by the beach and stuff. It'll be amazing to go to, which is why I want to go to it next year. But I'm not sure if it will be the best for racing. But the good thing is with new circuits, it's always usually the first race is usually decent anyway because a lot no one's really used to it, and there's usually something that happens. So certainly for the first season, I'm excited for it. Even though it may not be one of the most exciting on the grid. Plus, as I have that extra bias because I'm trying to go to it in April next year. I
kind of hope the Florida Grand Prix gets added because I've friends in Florida who I can stay with.
Oh, right, yeah.
It will be a good one.
So I'd love to go to that. Yeah. I'd also love to go to Singapore.
I hate the track, but I imagine it'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Love to go to Singapore though. I say it's a lovely city. That's the main reason. But still, see the Grand Prix when I'm over there. Do we have to talk about anything else really?
Canada, we sort of done.
Covered Canada.
So, yeah.
Not really.
We sort of covered all bases.
Yeah, pretty much.
I even covered Renault's engine upgrades, which might be non-existent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's about it then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, we already have 6 tracks confirmed for next season according to Wikipedia.
Oh yeah.
Australia, Bahrain, China, Azerbaijan, Spain and Monaco. Spain.
Spain's confirmed for next year.
According to Wikipedia it is, but I wouldn't take that on a granted.
But I don't take that because
No.
yeah, I'm not sure about
Yeah, that can still disappear. And it's Wikipedia,
Yeah.
so never trust Wikipedia, boys.
that. Yeah.
Anyway. Once again, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Lights Out podcast, and we'll see you at the next one. Peace out!